Hey guys, it's Coach Gaglione from GaglioneStrength.com. We got another strong woman on the line. We have Katrina here today. How you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Great.
Thank you for.
Yeah, absolutely. We look forward to having you. So, I've done a couple of meets at Lightning Fitness a few times, and I've kind of seen you around, like hitting smashing some big weights, so for the people that don't know who you are, can you just let us know, who you are, how long you've been lifting, and what you got going on right now?
Well, I've actually only been powerlifting for a few years, since 2013. Prior to that, I had kind of always gone back and forth with my weight. I have three kids, a 13-year-old, 11-year-old, and a 9-year-old. So, my weight would jump up, and then I would do a bunch of cardio, lose the weight, and then as soon as I stopped doing cardio, the weight would come back on. So I started working with a personal trainer a few years ago, just your regular old commercial gym personal trainer, and he had competed in a little bit of powerlifting and bodybuilding. So one day I asked him to squat, and I'd always been afraid of going toward the dumbbells and any of the free weights. Very intimidating. At least it was for me going into a gym and not knowing what you're doing. So he showed me how to squat, and I said to him the first time that I squatted, I worked up to 135. And I was like, oh, this is going to be a problem. And he was like, why? I was like, because I'm not going to stop. So then a few months after that, he taught me how to bench press. And that was a little ego crushing, considering my squat had gone so well from the beginning. I think I benched like 65 pounds, and it was hard. And so just from there, I've progressively gotten more and more into it. I competed in my first competition about 6 months after I had started training with him, and now it's my life. I have a meet coming up in December in Fairhaven, Vermont. My entire program for the year since the Arnold has been geared towards this meet, so I'm hoping for some big numbers. If I'm able to get a 12:10 total, that will put me number 2 of all time in the 165s, which isn't an unrealistic goal for me at this point.
And then is that you doing going raw with wraps or raw with sleeves? Or?
Raw with wraps.
Awesome.
I competed in August. I didn't meet in Long Island raw. I like to see what I can do just with my own body power without the sleeve, or without sleeves, without wraps, just a belt. So right now I'm going to compete in wraps because that's what I have to do to get the records that I want and the goals that I want. But really, I like competing raw. Although I have dabbled recently in a little bit of gear.
I saw that. That's pretty.
It's just kind of fun.
Yeah, it's definitely kind of fun. I agree. It's like a lot of people don't really understand it, but it's definitely a whole different world. But just kind of I want to rewind a little bit. So,
okay.
Benching 60 pounds, squatting 135. Now you're blowing those numbers out of the water. What kind of made you decide that you wanted to take the step from just lifting recreationally and actually competing? And now we're talking about being some of the best, in the country and even in the world, for your weight class. So how did you kind of go from just, lifting like that and then lifting at such a high level?
I've always just been very driven. So to me, I'll never be able to just go to the gym and lift just to lift. So when the weight got a little bit heavier and it was easy, I add more weight, and it's just kind of progressively gotten that way. And it's addicting because when you hit your, you get a new PR, you're happy for about 5 seconds, and then you want another one. You're like, all right, I just squatted 3 plates. So to me, in my mentality, it's like, all right, I squatted 3 plates onto 4 plates. I can squat 4 plates. Now I want 5 plates. So I've never looked at it as there's a number that I wouldn't be capable of achieving. So even with accessory work, every time I go into the gym, it's, all right, I did 3 sets of 10 whatever, lat pull downs at 140 pounds. Okay, well, I got 3 sets of 10, so next week I'm bumping the weight up. and I keep progressively doing that. And it's just, I love competing. I love the sport. I love all the people that I've met. It's this whole community.
Yeah, I totally
Everybody's
agree.
happy for one another when they achieve their goals. My husband, now I met him at the gym, and so I love training with him, and he's been a huge motivator for me. My backbone, my support. I think he likes to take the claim for fame on my bench press, because when we met, it was 155, and that's how we met. I had sent him a Facebook message asking him for help on my bench. So now my bench is, the last time I benched, it was about 275. So he likes to take the credit for
There you go.
increasing my.
Yeah, so it's actually real funny. I don't know if you remember this or not, but so at the Arnold, when he proposed, like I had to hold the video camera, so I was making sure, like I was more nervous about that than coaching. I didn't want to fuck up the proposal video, but that was
I
really.
didn't know what was going on because I had just gotten red lighted on my second attempt for soft knees.
Yeah, soft knees, yeah.
And which I never even heard of. And then, so I went from like nailing my third attempt and being like, fuck you, I got it. So I came down on his knee and I was like, what is going on?
Yeah, there's too much going on. It's kind of
two complete opposite emotions.
Very awesome. Well, congratulations to both of you. That was great. So I just want to also talk about, you have great squat, great deadlift, but a lot of women struggle benching, and I think a lot of women, maybe they feel like they could have strong legs, but not every woman kind of believes they could have a strong upper body. So what were some of the things that you kind of did, both mentally and physically, to help you go from, benching, in under 200 to now you're closing in on like getting close to a 300-pound mark, which is a really, really elite number, especially for a woman your size. So what are some things, some advice you can kind of give the ladies out there who want to improve their bench?
I think some of the things that girls tend to follow what they see everybody else doing. So you see all these girls with these crazy arches,
right?
And they get crazy arches and they have this like 2-inch range of motion,
yeah.
But they're benching like 140 pounds.
Yeah.
So for me, I don't use that high arch. I kind of found, it took me a year of playing with my bench to figure out what exact position was best for me. Everybody's leverages are different.
Sure.
So for me, it was just figuring out where on the bar I needed, was the best place for where I felt strongest. I'm not super wide. I'm a thumb width away from the middle knurling. I have a slight arch. I have minimal leg drive, which is what I'm constantly been working on. So I do pull-ups 3 times a week, which I hate. My coach has them. They've been in my program forever. So a lot of back. A lot of women think it's chest. Triceps. You have to figure out where your weak points are. So, if you're failing in the middle, it's where your triceps take over. That's where you start nailing triceps. I do a lot of bodybuilding accessory work too. So I'm doing a lot of flies, cables, dumbbells. I'm working every single muscle, chest, back, triceps, even core for stability. I do a lot of that. And there were also at times, you see a lot of times on the bench, people are coming up unevenly. They have one arm is weaker than the other, so a lot of single arm exercises. It's just been, you have to push through it. It's hard. And I work at it a lot. So you have to enjoy it. You have to enjoy it too. So if you hate benching, I hear a lot of girls hate benching.
Poverty bench and all this stuff. It's just like a bad attitude from the start. So I think that's great advice. I think also a big point too is just doing some hypertrophy work. I think a lot of people kind of get in, they just only bench. But like I said, if you don't work on your arms and your lats and all the other supporting muscle groups, I think that's it's going to give you that foundation so you could really start to improve and not really worry too much about arching and all this stuff. Like you can get really strong just with like you said, a minimal arch and actually kind of work on the movement, not worry so much about like just cutting down the range of motion so much. So really cool.
And I'd also like to add that it's a process too. So I see people, men and women, going into the gym and they're maxing out and they're going for those heavy lifts week after week after week. So since the Arnold, which was in March, up through this meet that I have in December, it's been various cycles, 5-week-long cycles. Every 5th week I deload, test, start over. So in the beginning, it was a lot of volume. Sets of 4 to 10, 4 sets of 7 to 10 on major lifts. A lot of corrective work. I had to do Turkish get-ups and all sorts of things to work on mobility. So it's not always fun. You got to put in the time and the work and the things that are less fun to get to, like right now, I'm in a peaking cycle, which is the best part. Because everything is...
That's the fun part, yeah.
It's the fun part, because everything is, singles and doubles, and you're beating your old numbers, and you're getting ready for the meet, and so it doesn't happen overnight. You just got to keep working on it and follow a plan.
Cool. So my next question for you is, have you ever dealt with any adversity or injuries, setbacks, and if so, how did you overcome them?
Well, yes. A couple years ago, I had started doing CrossFit for a little while, and I had an instructor wrap my arm in that floss on my shoulder to try and rehabilitate an injury that I had. So he put the floss on my shoulder and kept my arm behind me for, 2-3 minutes. My hand got numb. The numbness, long story short, didn't go away for 3 months. Wow. So I started losing feeling in my hands, and I had tons of tests, and ultimately the chiropractor was the one who fixed it, and within a couple hours after seeing him, I was fine. But during that time, it was depressing. I couldn't do anything that I wanted because you need your arm. Yeah. you need strength in your hand. You just work around it. I did legs. I got straps so that I could deadlift. Everybody is going to be, ultimately the goal is to not get injured, but it's going to happen. And so you just have to take the time, get better, let it heal, or, suffer the consequences of making it worse. I've been pretty fortunate that I haven't had any major injuries. I've had no muscle tears or anything like that, but I fully believe that it's because I take the time to do mobility work. I have proper nutrition. I take fish oil and glucosamine and multiple things. I take care of my body 24 hours a day. So I think that that's helped me stay injury-free. Knocking on wood.
let's keep that going. Cool.
Yeah.
So I also know, at a lot of your meets, I see, your husband now is handling you and stuff. I know sometimes people, that it works really well. Sometimes it doesn't work so well, kind of working with, your significant other. Any kind of advice for people that maybe want to work out with their boyfriend or their husband or anything like that?
Well, it isn't always peachy.
Sure, of course, yeah.
When it's a bad squat day, or something isn't going right, it's very difficult to not start an argument, especially if you're trying to tell your significant other something that they did wrong or why something happened. You don't want to hear it. You just want it. So learning to how your significant other is going to react or what they need, and listening to what they need. A lot of times, Drew just wants to be left alone. So I know that if he's pissed off about something, I'm just going to walk away and he'll when he's ready. But it's the best thing, being able to work with your significant other, because you trust that person. Yeah. That person is behind you. I don't want anybody else behind me in a squat, because I know that he's going to catch me. And it brings us closer together. I was just saying to him last weekend, I was like, I had the best weekend with you, and all we did was go to the gym, we went out to eat, and and sleep. That's it. We relaxed. And I was like, that would be really annoying to somebody that wasn't into the same things as you. Yeah. So there's no oh, I'm going to be at the gym for 3 hours and he's complaining, or vice versa.
Right.
And it makes it difficult. Like now I'm traveling without him because I have to bench tonight and I got to find somebody else to.
Excuse me, sir. It's
like, yeah, yeah.
Can you hand off this? This, yeah, no. Then it's like, oh wait, no, yeah. That's a whole other thing, but.
Which I'm fortunate that I'm at a powerlifting type gym here, so everybody is.
They know what they're doing. Yeah.
Yeah, one of the guys yesterday said he would wrap my knees tomorrow night, and I was like, all right, well I have 6 sets. You got to pull the mono and wrap, and he was like, no problem, I got you. So that's nice, but it's still not the same as my husband.
Of course. So I think that's great advice. Just kind of recap what you said. I think the communication is key, having expectations and just kind of knowing your partner's needs and kind of knowing when to kind of give them their space and kind of cool off, because I think that could definitely be challenging, but also like you said, it kind of brings you closer. And like I said, if they kind of like you get each other, I think that's really powerful too, and you can really help each other that much more. And having that trust is big. So very cool. So my last kind of question for you is: someone was kind of on the fence of just getting started. I know you said you were kind of intimidated when you kind of first started. What advice can you give someone starting out? What would you tell them?
With powerlifting or
just like
lifting in general?
Maybe just strength training, and maybe they're on the fence about competing. Like, what would you say about getting into powerlifting?
I think that you should just do it. I always encourage everybody to just do it. So, you go to a powerlifting meet, there's people there I see little kids sometimes that are 8 years old pulling their first deadlift. And then there's the 85-year-old grandma or grandpa that wants to come out and compete. So it's very accepting. It may seem intimidating, but at every meet that I've ever been to, everybody has always been more than helpful.
Yep.
Nice and supportive. So there's nothing better than competing. I love going out on the platform. Don't worry about what anybody else is doing, and go out there and have fun and show them what you have. And if it's your first meet, then, and you don't do as well as you wanted to, it's your first meet. And then do it again, and do it again. And that's how you get better.
Awesome. Great advice. Thank you so much for coming on.
You're welcome.
Is there any place where people can find more about you or check out your lifting or anything like that? Or
well, I don't have a YouTube or anything, but I'm on Instagram with my husband. We have a combined Instagram page. It's MA Powerlifting Couple. And then I'm also on Facebook.
Cool.
So Katrina Bellamyza, Bielomyza. I know it's a tough name.
It's a doozy, but.
If any females have any questions or want any more information, I love talking about lifting and love helping new lifters and anybody I can. So.
Very cool. Definitely give her a follow on the gram, and definitely drop a comment. Let's show some love. You can check out the links below. Thank you so much for coming on. If this video helped you, please share. And thanks for coming on again. And thanks guys for watching, and we'll see you soon. Okay.